Watch when we're on a second here. You ready?
And I would have.
I was on.
He got out for it. He got
All
out
right.
early. I thought he was already out.
Here we go. Here we go.
I honestly don't think.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned into your station, your voice, the Galaxy Radio here. You're tuned into CineManiacs, and tonight we have a special show. It's all about Pixar, and our marquee of the night is going to be Coco. But before we start all that, let's meet who we got on the show tonight.
I'm Brendan.
I'm Levi.
And I'm Steven.
I'm Irvin. Let's get down to business. Alrighty. So while they're getting that thing taken care of, how are we doing tonight?
Doing
Brendan, first just you and me.
I'm really tired.
Yeah.
But me and Levi went to the hot chocolate bar that they had at the clubhouse.
So we beat. Oh, how was that?
Yeah, it was really good.
Really good.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had
I don't
lots
drink
of
hot chocolate
they had
anymore,
like
so it doesn't matter.
they had like milk chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolate,
Yeah.
salted
Nice.
caramel chocolate stuff, red velvet.
All just like different flavors of.
Yeah.
All these different flavors of hot chocolate.
Yep.
Wow.
Red Vel-
I kind of wanted
Red
to.
velvet hot chocolate sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, red velvet hot chocolate sounds really interesting. I never think of it. I love red velvet. So.
Olivia, is that her name?
Olivia.
Yeah.
Olivia had some, and she was like, "This is not that good."
Nope.
Oh.
Well, hey, you don't know what you don't like unless you try it. So
Yeah.
there you
know,
go.
I'm not a fan of hot chocolate anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Really, you don't like hot chocolate?
No.
Hmm.
It's been a while since I had it, so my opinion might change when I have some.
I love hot chocolate.
Alright. I took a nap before we came over here, and it was glorious. So now I'm ready to go into action. So
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
I goofed around with you guys, obviously,
Wait, is it?
and it's still not. Look at that, the
It's
levels.
not working
Yeah,
out.
how about that?
Well, how
That's
I
Is
mean,
it the gray wire?
Wait, I'm talking. Nope. Look at that.
well, so here at the Galaxy, we're having some technical difficulties with the third microphone that Levi and Steven are on right now. So if you can hear them kind of faintly, that is just because of that. We're trying everything here. I think this is as good as we're gonna do tonight. Just
This
for
is
that.
as good as it's gonna get. And there's
Luckily,
no
your guys'
other
voices
videos,
are loud, so that's a good plus
Yeah.
right there.
That is a good. Plus.
So if you do not hear them that well, we apologize. Just some
Probably gonna work.
technical difficulties down here. But yeah,
Still want to keep it
I
up.
said it'll probably. No,
It's fine, we'll just keep it
I
there.
don't care what
Yeah.
happens to it.
all
It
right.
might be the gray wire.
Alrighty, guys. So tonight's show all about Pixar. We're gonna be talking about our favorite Pixar films leading up to the marquee of the night, which is Coco. So for our introduction tonight, I want to ask you guys. Pixar obviously is a company that is just as famous as Disney, I would say, because they're right up there with their movies.
Isn't Pixar part of
Disney is
Disney?
part of Pixar.
Oh,
Pixar is part of Disney.
Disney Pixar presents.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why.
Disney,
thought-
Disney bought Pixar in 2005.
Okay, so it's
And that-
probably.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
bought Pixar in 2005, and that's why ever since 2006, Cars, like, they release a Disney Pixar film every single year, 'cause before they didn't do that.
No,
Okay.
you should be like big gaps.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then forget what I said. So they are a part of Disney as well. But they do make some really amazing. They produce some really amazing films that. Also, just as famous as the Disney ones that we always experience. So I want to ask you guys before we get into our list here. How did you guys start learning more about Pixar? As young kids and now growing up.
What was our first Pixar movie?
Kind of like that, and like, what did you first hear about them and that kind of stuff?
Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Same here.
That was
That's
the one
mine.
that started it all for me. Absolutely love Toy Story. I own the first two on VHS.
There you
I
go.
watched them all the time. I even had a Buzz and Woody doll. I had both of them.
Hey, I have a Woody and a Bullseye doll, so
Yeah.
that's cool. So you two gentlemen over there who wanna shout at
Do
me?
you want to borrow my mic?
We're gonna do a different
There's a chunk of your mic missing.
Yeah, it's been missing.
Not.
Whatever.
Whatever.
So I guess you can just talk really loudly. I guess that's what I want to suggest to you guys. So that's how the show's gonna be tonight a little bit. So just tell me. Keep going on with it. So your guys' first Pixar introduction and films and that kind of stuff.
Well, I guess the first Pixar film I ever watched was the very first Toy Story movie. It was either the very first Toy Story or A Bug's Life,
Oh, Bug's Life.
or well, I can tell you this: the very first film I ever saw in theaters was, I can't remember what it was. It was one of three. It was either Lilo and Stitch, Hey Arnold the movie, or Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Finding Nemo was like the first Pixar film I ever saw in theaters, and I remember that because the film broke while we watched it the first time.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was during the scene where they're going down in the trench, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and we couldn't tell that the movie was broken, obviously, because it's dark when they go down there, and so we got a refund. Like I said, everybody come back like next weekend or whatever, and
Oh my God.
we'll refund you the movie, and we'll let you can watch it again. It didn't break the second time, so I remember that very.
They were like, we don't want to refund them
vividly.
again.
But so that was the first film I ever saw in the theater. But at home, it was probably either the first Toy Story or maybe Monsters Inc. I want to say it's either the first Toy Story or A Bug's Life, though, and then Monsters Inc. was like the second one.
Okay.
I watched.
Some good choices there. What about you, Steve?
I think the first Pixar movie I probably ever saw was, I want to say Toy Story. I really want to say Toy Story. I'm pretty sure it's Toy Story. So yeah, the first one I saw was Toy Story, and then I saw Toy Story 2 afterwards, and then like I kind of just kept it going with seeing all like the Pixar, like Disney Pixar movies. I don't know how many of them I've seen in theaters. I know I've seen Meet the Robinsons in theaters.
That's not Pixar.
Oh, you're right.
Isn't that like...
That's DreamWorks.
That's
Yeah,
just
DreamWorks.
That's not
No, it's
DreamWorks.
not.
That is just straight up Disney animation.
Oh,
Is
okay.
it really?
Yes.
Huh.
Oh,
That's just straight up Disney.
Oh, I wasn't thinking.
The
of
quote
Meet
at the
Robinsons.
the quote at the very end of the movie
Keep moving
"Keep
forward."
moving forward" by Walt Disney.
I wasn't thinking of Meet the Robinsons. I was thinking of robots.
That's...
didn't they come out around the same time? Or different?
No, I think...
That's a completely different. They did come around about like Robots was like 2006, 2005, and Meet the Robinsons was like 2007.
Yeah, I remember
I was
that.
thinking of robots, not Meet the.
Alright.
Do you not like robots?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no, Robots is iconic, man. It's fun to meme and make fun of.
I've never seen robots.
Oh, okay, it's fun to
I've never seen
meme.
it, yeah.
We're watching it tonight after the show.
I'm
Me
good
and
with that.
Steven
We have to
homework.
edit.
Oh, and whose fault is that?
Hey.
This is not for the show, Levi.
Alright, hey, bring it back, guys. Bring it back on. Alright, so we talked a little bit about that. So, for me, one of my very first, I agree with you, Brennan, it was Toy Story. But also I remember seeing, I think I had this discussion with Levi, I think we had it about a year ago. We were talking about what films we saw in the theaters for the very first time. And one of them along those was Monsters, Inc. I remember seeing that one very specifically the first time in theaters. As well as for the first Pixar film I kind of truly saw in theaters as well. So it was very cool to see how, how long it's been since I've seen that movie in theaters and how like it's always gotten better with age. So definitely one of my favorite films. But yeah, so anything else that before we start the show? Our movies? Alrighty, so before we do that, let's read the PSA for today. And the computer just slept on me. There we go. Come on, wake up. There we go. Alrighty, so tonight is called Americans for the Arts. There's just not enough art in our schools. No wonder people think Louis Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon. It's a long way from the Apollo theory to the Apollo program, but for Louis Armstrong, giant leaps for mankind were simply a matter of course. For more information about the benefits of art education, please visit us on theamericansforthearts.org. Just like Louis Armstrong, art needs a little brass. Art, ask for more. What's up?
What?
I don't know, that just didn't sound right in my head.
It was a little...
What didn't sound right?
I don't know.
Well, moving on.
Louis Armstrong didn't sound right in my head.
Well, yeah, that's because he did. That's because he
What?
didn't walk on the moon, Steven. That was Lance Armstrong.
That was Neil
Sorry.
Armstrong!
Sorry, Lance Armstrong is the
Lance Armstrong is
biker.
the
I know the
biker.
biker. Sorry.
Oh!
I know my history.
Didn't go right in my
Chill
head, and
out.
it was bad.
All right.
That was the point. Like,
All right, here we
people
go.
think that Louis Armstrong walked on the moon.
Yeah, that's the point of the. It's like saying like
Who
we need
thinks
more,
that?
Okay, here we go. So we're gonna talk about the first movie of the night, which is Monsters Inc. Came out in 2001, so a very, very, very long time ago.
It was 16 years.
16 years ago.
Damn, I was only like
It's about to be 17
4.
years.
That's right. That's
I
right.
was 4 when this came
It's
out.
a pretty iconic movie for Pixar's history, for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys, who would... I just hear something over here rumbling.
Steven's doing the Monsters Inc.
So who would like... So who would like to talk about the plot summary? Would you like me to do it? I can do it if you want.
You can do it if you want.
That much of a mic to talk.
Neither of you have much of a mic to talk.
Alright.
You're talking to talk.
Remember what I said, you gotta talk loudly even for your reviews and stuff. Alright, so Monsters Inc. came out in 2001. I'll be honest with you, it's a very unique... what Pixar has done just in general with every single one of their stories is that they've taken a topic that seems like they can make just another like cliche film out of, but they make it more unique than than people would think it is. So like Monsters Inc. People are like, oh, what's it gonna be about? And they take this tale about a world of monsters and they make it something like it relates to humans and how it relates to our world today and how it has very similarities and parallelism to like the real life world of ours. So I think it's very cool how they made that happen. But Monsters Inc. 2001. So we have two monsters that. Well, so basically we open up and we're in a world that is just completely filled with monsters, right? It's instead of humans, it's just all monsters, and the monsters have their own world while the humans have they're in the real world, but the monsters have their own close world. And we meet two characters that we're gonna follow for the rest of the story. We have James B. Sullivan and Mike Wazowski. I was expecting you to do your Mike Wazowski voice.
Mike Wazowski.
What's the I forgot what her name was. She's like the slug thing.
Raz.
Raz. Yeah.
Hello, boys.
I swear, you do that voice so well. It creeps.
I'm watching you, Wazowski.
Are you sure you weren't Raz in the actual movie, Brennan? I feel like he was.
Always watching.
So, as we continue to follow these two characters around, we learn that they are roommates, they're living together, and that they work at Monsters Inc., which is a company that specializes in scaring children. That's the Monster World basically relies on the screams and fear of children to make their whole everything run. So, like, if we have electricity in the human world, well, they have screams in the monster world to make everything run. And so you have Mike, who is played by Billy Crystal, and then you have James Blunt, which is played by John Goodman, and so John Goodman's character, so they kind of work as a tag team duo. Pretty much all the monsters do. James is the one that goes inside. They find different doors for different kids that live all around the world. They put them in like the main factory line. Then they go in there. They scare the kids. They get the screams down. Then Mike puts the canister back on the car, and that goes into the electricity or wherever it goes to.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens? So, one night, a random door appears in the middle of just a lot, right? It's late at night, and Sully decides to go investigate, see what's up, and he realizes that one of the kids, Boo, that's what I feel like she has an actual like a real other. I feel like
They just call her
it's
Boo.
yeah, they call her Boo. Like even I feel like in the filmography, like the cast, like the
Yeah,
the
she's
cast-
just Boo.
No,
just
she's just Boo and everything.
I would be surprised. I just want to have like the one day where they just have like, or they release her actual name out. That would be really freaky.
It'll
right?
probably never happen.
It
It's
probably
been
will never
16
happen.
years.
But so yeah, so a little 5-year-old, I guess just a toddler kind of gets out, and her name is Boo, and so she decides to follow James around. She calls him Kitty because he's like this big, I don't know what he is. He's like a big like monster-looking beast thing, but she calls him. I don't know. I mean, what does he look like to
think
you?
of, like, what he is. Because
He's
he's got
like-
like a gator tail, but he's covered in fur.
He's like a
He's a monster.
Well, yeah.
No, I know, but like,
He's
He resembles a-
specific.
yeah, he's got
he's
like
the-
three different animals. So he's like,
Is he like the gorilla?
I was gonna say,
yeah,
he's like the Gorlock.
He's got
Is
like
James the
he's got like a
Gorlock?
lion head, kind of. He's got like
Stop.
a gator tail.
Just
Yeah.
stop trying to guess. It's just
Give me that shovel.
Another gator. Give me that shit.
But so as the story goes on, we learn that Boo is following around James, and the thing about kids, or basically humans in the world, is that kids are the ones that if like they touch you, basically like it's like
They're toxic.
they're toxic, right? And
2319.
yeah, seriously. So
2319.
if a kid touches you, it's like being touched by radioactive waste. Like you cannot do it. And poor that one character always gets the end of the bag.
Oh, what is his name? Oh, well, don't worry. About
Joey or
it.
something. It's like Joey or something. But So he teams up with Mike. They have to get Boo back to the real world. But as this is happening, Randall, played by Steve Buscemi, is on their tail because he needs Boo to for the factory. Basically, because Mr. Waternoose, he's the main what?
It is Steve Buscemi, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy,
You
isn't
know what
it?
Steve Buscemi was also in? The Last Night.
Why did you have to bring that up,
Yeah.
Steven? I'm just curious.
It just popped in my mind. I'm sorry.
You-
Wow.
He was in Transformers The Last Night.
Steve Buscemi was?
Yes.
Oh yeah, his voice of one of the Transformers.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
That's funny.
Wow. I've gone my whole life not knowing that Randall was.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Oh my god.
I mean, one of my Andrew,
I didn't care
Andrew just
enough.
found Andrew just found that Tom Hanks voiced the majority of the characters in Polar Express.
Andrew.
Yeah, he was like the entire cast.
Andrew.
But anyway, so Randall's on their tail trying to get Boo back. The boss of Monsters Inc., Mr. Waternoose, he's also behind it all. And what happens is they kidnap Boo, and it's up to James and Sully to get her back and then take her back to her proper place. And eventually they
Did you
do.
say James and Sully.
I mean, James and... See, it's weird because they
Mike,
should
Sully
have
and
two...
Mike.
Sully and Mike,
What
that's why
is
I
Mike
say
and Sully?
Mike and Sully, you can say whatever you want. But it's up to their duty to go get Boo back and bring her back to her home, and they eventually do, of course. And it's just a nice little tale. Happy about that. Of course, a lot of details in the movie that a lot of scenes and that kind of stuff, which we'll get into in a little bit here.
Yeah, we don't need to get
But-
into them right now.
But it is one of my
You've been out
all-time.
for 16 years. People know it already.
Yeah,
Right.
fair.
But it is one of my all-time favorite Pixar films. It's still, obviously, I remember just sitting in the theater watching it with my mom and dad, so that was really fun. But definitely just one of those films that always, every year, it just gets better and better. And like Monsters University, I was very happy for that to come out, and I saw it. I just was very pumped because it's like my childhood back again.
I still wish there would have been a sequel, though.
What Monsters University?
That they would have done a sequel.
Yeah, a prequel. Yeah, but hey, it's it works. It works.
I like the prequel.
No, I like it.
Monsters
I like it.
University.
Part of me wishes that it was a sequel instead.
Definitely. So before, so that's my little summary, of course. So anyone want to go into the first reviews of the movie and what we thought of Monsters Inc.
Who wants to
Who
go?
wants to
Just
start?
want to go down the line?
Which way are we going?
Let's
This
just
way?
go down the line. Yeah.
Alright.
It gets louder with every single time.
I mean, there's not really much that I can really say about Monsters Inc. It's a great movie. Honestly, like what I love about the Pixar movies is what they do with the credits. Like
Yeah.
I really love the credits of Monsters Inc. Where
The
they
car.
just do the bloopers.
Yeah,
And then
it's Mike's car.
it's Sully and Mike singing. I
The
wouldn't
thing
have
that-
nothing if I didn't have
Oh.
you.
Yeah.
I just, I love that. I love that so much. Honestly, like my favorite character is probably Mike.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
How can
too.
you not love Mike Wazowski? He's one of the funniest characters in any of the Pixar movies, I believe. My favorite part with Mike is just how he's like always wanting to be on the cover of the magazine.
Yeah,
And then
gets
him
blocked by the
and Sully
barcode.
are finally on it.
Yeah.
And he opens up the box and he's like, "Oh my god!" And
The barcode's on
The
it.
what
barcode's
is-
on his
I know,
face.
but what is his girlfriend's name? What's that?
Celia.
Celia. And she's like, "Oh, googly there," and he's like,
Voiced by
"I'm
Jennifer
on
Tilly.
the cover of the
Yeah.
magazine." And he's just got the barcode
And then,
over
in the beginning, when they're on TV and like the Monsters Inc. logo covers him up.
Yeah.
Because he's just a
all you
person.
see,
He's like-
all you see is his arms
Yeah.
and legs.
And then he's like, they turn it off, and he's like, "I don't believe it. Oh my God, I was on TV."
He just doesn't care that he's covered up by
As long as he
as long
sees
as he's
himself,
there, as long as he's there.
as long as he sees parts of himself, he knows that's it, and that's what I love about Mike. He just has that optimistic.
And the part where they have to get Boo to laugh to open up the door.
Oh yeah,
And he jumps up and does the splits and lands on the metal beam. And he's like, "Ah," and he goes, "Why isn't she laughing?" And Sully goes, "Oh, sorry. Her hood was down. She didn't see it. You gotta do it again." Monsters Inc. is just such a great movie.
Yeah.
it's a classic for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of these are like, well, a lot of these, like, even though they came out in much later years, every single one of them lives up to their own legacy, and they still get better like every single year with age, which is what I love about Pixar's movies. That not only are they just great movies overall, but they have like such a long last. Like you can show these kids You can show
these kids to movies all the time.
That's right. You can show these movies to your kids, and they can show it to their kids. Like it just keeps going. They will always get better with age. I feel like, which is a great thing to have, definitely. But yeah. Anything else you want to add on before we go back into more funny scenes? But
I mean, not really. I mean, I love the music in all of Pixar's movies, especially Monsters Inc. It's definitely one of my favorites up there. I also like Monsters University, but we're not talking about that tonight.
That's right.
But
it's a great movie though. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
It's a great movie.
No, just you have to have seen Monsters Inc. at least once in your life. You got to.
I feel like you should have seen at least all these films like once in your life.
I feel like it.
Haven't seen Up.
Yeah, I feel like it's. Oh man. I feel like Monsters Inc. definitely would help. Cause kids all the time are always like scared of the monster under the bed.
Yeah.
Like, show this movie to your kids if they're scared of monsters in the closets or under the bed or anything like that.
Do you think that's what it was made for?
Just tell them nothing is real.
I feel like that's probably definitely
that's probably what it was made for.
Was to help kids get over the fear of the monster under the bed.
Just tell
like
them
the part where Mike becomes a comedian at the end.
Yeah, you're gonna if you're scared, Mike Wazowski will pop into your closet and be
Yeah, like I think
really
the
exists.
point, like, is when you think about it, like what they're doing is they're showing like monsters like they live and walk in a society the same as humans do, and then when you watch it, you see that monsters are more afraid of humans than humans are of monsters. It's kind of like with bugs, you know, like the fly's more afraid of you than you are the fly or the wasp or whatever. So that's kind of like what they were going for, was the opposite of that. The monsters are more afraid of these kids than they are, than the kids are.
A child!
Definitely, I agree with that. What else do you guys want to add anything to Monsters Inc. before?
Yeah, they gotta talk about it before.
Shout it out. Shout it out.
I like Monsters Inc. It's really, really good. I grew up on it. I still have the VHS copy of it at home, and now we got a Blu-ray copy of it too. So. Did a big jump like that. Saw when they re-released it in 3D back in 2012, and
really?
Yeah, that was cool seeing it in 3D. You know.
Oh, because
3D
that was
like,
was that the year that Monsters University came out?
No, Monsters University came out a year later. 12,
Oh, is that why?
13.
So that's why they did it. Was sort of like.
No, they just did it because like.
I mean, they also did Toy Story like 1 and 2, and that was also that was also.
They released that in 3D.
3D.
Yeah.
They just re-released a lot of films back in 3D. Like they did with The Lion King, they did with Finding Nemo,
Yeah.
they did with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. They just re-released a lot of them in 3D when 3D was popular, but.
It's a different night, Steven.
But I like Monsters Inc. Me and my brothers, the funniest part that we love is when Sully is sledding down the snow mountain, and this intense music is playing, like he's got this face like of intensity, like he can do this, like he's making it, and all of a sudden he hits the rock and just goes flying like, oh my! It just kills the mood, and me and my brothers laugh at it.
Really? I
every
cried for
time.
that part. I did not cry for it. I'm just like, oh dang, like, poor Sully.
It's hilarious. Like it's got all the seriousness. Like what? or like
Why is your face so red, Levi?
Yeah, like the Abominable Snowman, where he's like, "Welcome to the Himalayas."
You guys like snow cones?
I'll go get more snow cones.
Oh. But yeah. Or when Boo's getting crushed, where he thinks Boo's getting crushed by the garbage.
And he's like reacting.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
And then Mike comes back, he's like, "Soul, that's a piece of garbage."
Why is it still here, the little voice?
Yeah, I hear it too. How many kids you got in there? And then the best scenes are with Mike and Roz, where she's like, "Wazowski, you didn't file your paperwork on time." "Oh, that darn paperwork. Wouldn't it be a shame if it just blew away?" "Don't let it happen again." "Yes,
Why are you both so
I'll
freaking
try
good
to
at
be
this
less
voice?
careless."
You guys are like Raj, just like in like a past
And then he
Intermediates.
and then
All that darn paperwork. great if we just.
And now it's gone. It's on electronics.
Don't let it happen again.
and then when he approaches Roz the second time, and he's like, Roz, you're looking beautiful today. Did you do something new? And your lipstick with your makeup? Your haircut. It's got to be a new haircut. New makeup, lipstick, anything. It's... Listen,
well, what else did you say about like the movie in general besides the quote?
Yeah.
That part.
From the movie, yeah, the funny stuff, yeah.
You're gonna leave out the iconic Mike Wazowski scream?
What? When they go through the door, when they go to the Hawaiian place, he's like, why couldn't we get banished here instead of the blizzard? And then they go to the different door. It's iconic. They keep going to the different doors. He's like, you slide it. And then they go to Paris, and the door's like upside down. So he's like, oh, that was weird. And then slowly lands on top of him.
So, aside from the funny scenes, again,
The iconic. The whole movie's just.
What do you like about this Monsters Inc. in general, like overall?
Oh, it's Pixar, and it's directed by probably my favorite director at Pixar, Pete Docter. It's just anything Pete Docter does at Pixar is very touching, and he's the only one that can like make me cry during a Pixar film, unless you're Toy Story 3. So everybody balls during Toy Story 3.
No, I don't.
I cried like 3 times.
I've seen that movie like 3 times. I have not shed a single tear for that movie.
That's fine.
There's something wrong with you.
But
I mean, I'm already soulless. It doesn't matter.
But
oh my god.
It's
Jeez. You guys are crazy.
It's touching. It upsets me every time we see at the very end when he's like, Kitty has to go, and he hugs her goodbye, and then he thinks like, this is it, I'll never see you again. And then at the very end when Mike puts together the door and he opens it up and she goes, Kitty, and his face, like, it's all lit up.
Just,
like,
You know what the sad part is? I was going to see the extended part of that like scene, see what happens to them, like what would they do, and it's just like, nope, that's all you get. You get
what
that.
happens if he opens up the door and the parents are still
You just had to remember, didn't you, Brendan?
It was daytime. When he opens the door, there's like an immense amount of light that's shining through. It's not dark inside, so. But yeah, that upsets me.
Maybe she lived in Alaska where there's like half the year is just sun. There's like that one of just sunlight.
Oh.
Why would they do that to the kid?
That's Alaska. That's how it works.
I mean, that's true. It just upsets me. It's like it didn't used to upset me when I was a kid, but now it upsets me now because I think back to like when I A+ tutored my first graders and I had to say goodbye to them. That's what it's like now. It's like Levi has to go and like Kitty has to go. You don't know if you're never going to see these kids again. So yeah, and you don't know like if Kitty, like how young Boo is, like is she going to remember Sully when she grows older, like how young she is, and that's how it makes me feel with like my first graders. My first grader is going to remember me when they get older. So it's very touching, it's very sad, and Pete Docter does an excellent job, and we're going to move on to another one of his films later tonight, but yeah. So, Steven?
Well, I really like Monsters Inc. It's very funny, very just very well written and just really good. I mean, everything that I'm probably going to say has already been said by all of you, but it's just a really, really good. Like I said, like you guys said, like Mike is probably one of my favorite characters. Also like Randall. Randall's a good villain. He's a good villain. Also, Randall's funny when he's like with it. It's like him and his assistant Fungus.
And the Fungus gets put in the little thing that's supposed to be sucking out like Mike's energy, and he's like, "Where did they go?" And he's like, "Where did they go?"
Yeah, this movie is just.
I like how I say, alright guys, get back to talking about the movie and just go, but wait, what was that one scene where I'm just like.
It's funny, man.
No, I know, you guys are
hate
hilarious. Anyway.
That's your fault. But yeah, the movie's fantastic. I love it all the time. Like, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I need to watch it again sometime soon. It's really good. But, I mean, I can't say much. What I was gonna say has already been said, so.
True. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what all of you said. Definitely all the scenes you guys said as well. Those are like my favorite scenes as well. With Monster, like not just with Monsters Inc., but with all the Pixar films that I've seen in my life, I've always seen them with my parents, like at least once. Because for me, like, because we watched Monsters Inc. for the first time together as a family, and then like every film after that we watched together. So like for me, like the Pixar film was not the same without having like my family with me, like my mom especially, because I see a lot of similarities from like these movies and how like it translates to the real world. So definitely has a lot of movies have emotional like attachments to me. They're not like other movies I tend to watch or like, oh, like they won the Academy Award for this. Well, these movies, they touch your heart in such a way you don't even know how to react afterwards. They mess you up so bad, but at the same time they make you learn what it's like to care and what it's like to do this and that. Monsters Inc. is definitely one of the like one of my top favorite Pixar films of all time because it just shows you that like it's like the people you think wouldn't care, kind of like monsters. You think, oh, they're just ruthless these beings, but they care. They're trying to get this girl back to where she came from. Like they're being nice with her and all that stuff. So I think that aside from just saying like monsters aren't scary at all, or like like underneath your bed, it's saying that like the people that you think are maybe mean or something like that, maybe they probably aren't, or that you think some kind of lesson that falls between that. I think, but definitely one of my favorite films. And I think with all the Pixar films, a lesson is to be learned. That's what I love about it too, is that aside from being hilarious and like making you cry, and that it all comes back full circle in one way or the other because it just makes you learn that like valuable lesson. And so Monsters Inc. is definitely one of those great movies. So, all right, ratings for this movie. Who wants to go first?
I guess we'll just go down the line again.
Sounds good to me.
I'm going to give Monsters Inc. I'm just going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10.
I give Monsters Inc. a solid 8 out of 10, 8.0.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I also give it an 8 out of 10.
Oh.
Ooh.
I give it an 8.3.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
All three of us, and then
I was worried I was going to get yelled at.
Now the reason
no.
the reason why I only get 8.3 is because it's been very, very long since I've watched this movie. It's one of my favorites, but then again, like, I always want to write a movie that I remember the details very clearly about, and I still do. But then again, but yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, so maybe I guess, like I always say, if I watch it again later, I might have a higher rating for it. So
I haven't seen our next movie
in a long time
in
either.
a long time.
Yeah.
I've seen bits and pieces of it over the couple of years, but
Right, but not all the way through.
I haven't seen it all the way through since. God,
Like I haven't seen it all the way through since the first time it came
Oh,
out.
Me and my brothers watched. That was the last time you watched this.
No, I'm saying like all the way through was like the first time it came. Like we watched it on DVD, and then it was like 1 or 2 years after that, and then like that was pretty much about it.
I
Me
think
and
the
my
last time I
brothers.
saw it was like 10.
Yeah.
First time-
Well,
last
yeah,
time I saw
along
it
that
all the way
line.
through.
Oh my god, guys.
I've
When do
only
you?
seen bits and
How often do you watch
Me
it?
and my brothers like watch it at least once a year. We love this movie. Like it's one of the ones all three of us like really like.
Yeah.
We try. We
I
watch
need
it
to
at least like
rewatch it,
once
but I
a
don't own
year.
I don't own it.
God, I have it. Why don't we watch it sometime?
Let's do it. Let's watch it
God.
sometime. I guess we should probably say that we're talking about The Incredibles.
The
Yeah,
Incredibles.
Incredible.
Came
Yeah.
out in 2004. So just 3 years after Monsters Inc. Another great
Finally
classic.
getting our sequel next.
That's
year.
right.
Yeah.
See, I noticed one thing
Finally
about
getting our sequel next.
I noticed
year.
one thing about Pixar is that when they do sequels, they plan these things out for like years, years at a time. Because Monsters Inc. 2001, 2013, right? That's a quite a jump. And now 2004, 2018, like that's a big jump.
And
So
also, like, when was Incredibles 2 was announced before what?
well, they
It was announced like
few
last
years-
year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. It's been
Yeah.
announced that long, and it's been the world's
They
new.
don't want to let us down, man.
The
They
world
know how
knows
much
it's gonna
pressure
happen.
is
also
on.
a lot of these films also after the movies are released, obviously in 2004 and 2001, that kind of stuff. They talk about having sequels with it, but the thing is, the actors are unsure of it, and the script is being written. So at that point, everything is just kind of mixing up and not going a fluid structure. And then finally, in the years pass by, and now it's okay, now we're trying to get more line towards it. And so that's why I feel like it takes probably way too long. I mean, then again, it's really odd, but hey, they're
Yeah.
pretty good. They're pretty good sequels. If I say so, Monsters University is a pretty good sequel, or prequel, I should say.
Remember when they said that Incredibles 2 was gonna, everyone was going to have aged as long as the movie took, so they would have aged like 14 years.
That's a lot of years to
But
Oh.
then that didn't happen because we saw in the teaser that Jack is still a baby.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Bob Parr looks the exact
Yeah,
same.
he looks exactly
Yeah.
the same.
It's what I've heard from The Incredibles 2 before we finally get back into the original Incredibles here is that it's gonna pick up right at the scene of the
I
Underminer.
doubt it.
Yeah.
No, that's
I feel like I don't think it. I feel like.
no. They said that it would.
Yeah.
I mean, they also said they're gonna be 14 years older.
Well, if you look at the trailer in the official description, it's talking about it's gonna follow Miss Incredible.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
It's
gonna,
gonna follow her.
more of her own. So while Bob takes care
Bob
of Jack.
takes a back seat to help Jack to babysit Jack.
Yeah.
And
And
we'll
the
talk-
thing too, like the kids, the two that voice Violet and Dash, like they're older now. They don't sound the same.
Well,
They're
obviously.
the same age. So kind of like with Finding Dory and Finding Nemo, they had another kid play Nemo
Nemo.
and Finding Dory because the other kid grew up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. They all grew
yeah,
up. So.
the voice has changed. Yeah.
But yeah, so now that we're talking about The Incredibles 2, let's go back to the original Incredibles here. So this is also a great film, and obviously so many one-liners here that we quote all the time. But before we do that, who wants to give the basic plot summary of The Incredibles for those that may have not have seen it?
I guess I'll give my try at it.
All right.
Since the other movies you like a lot more, so. So The Incredibles takes place in a world where there are superheroes. In the very beginning, we get to see kind of like what the past was like, all the superheroes in action, and all that yada yada yada. What was really interesting was how they had like interview style with some of the superheroes, like Mr. Incredible, and then Elastigirl, and there was one other, wasn't there?
Frozen.
Was it Frozen?
It was Frozen, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like in the
Yeah, it
70s.
was Frozen.
The
Yeah.
interviews?
Yeah.
Yeah, Frozen.
It all takes
Oh.
place like all this. The story takes place like in the 70s and like that's what it takes
So
place.
the
in.
flashbacks.
The flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks.
Isn't that the
Yeah,
one?
not the present.
Not
day.
present.
Oh, what? Okay.
Mm-mm.
No.
All right.
But then we do a time jump. The government basically like made a law that there would be no costume heroes after some incident that happened.
Mr. Incredible.
Yeah.
Mr. Incredible saved a guy that was gonna
Oh yeah.
commit suicide.
You
Yeah.
didn't hear me.
What'd you say?
I said, is this just Watchmen?
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, it's
The guy was
Yeah.
trying to commit suicide, and Mr. Incredible saves him. And the guy's like, "You broke my neck,"
And he sued
Oh
him.
yeah, and he
He
sued
sued
him.
Mr. Incredible.
He sued him,
And then the people on the bus sued him because he stopped the bus from falling over, but it broke a bunch of people's like necks and bones and
Yeah.
yeah.
You lit.
So thanks.
I know.
So thanks to Mr. Incredible, government made a law banning superheroes and all that, yada yada yada. Anyway, we learn about Syndrome, and they're doing like a quote unquote weapons test, and Mr. Incredible gets asked to sort of like come back into action and test out, like do like the weapons test or something.
He's asked basically, what's the name of the character with the big glasses?
Edna Mode.
Edna
Edna
Mode.
Mode.
And fun fact, she was that's Brad Bird's voice.
Yeah.
Who made that? So that's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
she Mr. Incredible, he's thinking about returning back this because there's that company that was like, hey, we have like a new suit for you, we have some missions for you to do, and
Yeah,
because
that's what I was
Syndrome is
talking
trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess. Okay.
That's what I was talking about. I was just doing a really bad job.
Oh, it's okay. You're fine. You're good. You're good.
So he does the weapons thing. It's a giant robot designed to kill superheroes, and we find out that it is Syndrome, who is Buddy, who is.
Go home, buddy. I work alone.
Go home.
Yeah, he
Fly home,
wanted
buddy.
wanted to be Mr. Incredible's sidekick.
Incredible.
Incredible. And so, Mr. Incredible gets captured, and then it's up to Miss Incredible and the kids kind of tag along, but despite like her not wanting them to, they gotta go save their dad, and so they do, and then Buddy's like, I'm the only one that can stop the giant killing robot thingy. I'm gonna be the world's best superhero. But then they oust him, and everyone's like, "You suck, Syndrome." And so then they have to defeat Syndrome and the Omnibots.
Yeah.
Omnibots.
Yeah, Omnibots.
That's right.
That's what they were called.
They're
the
like
Omnibots.
they're just like a big
They're big.
ball with like just like legs.
Robot legs.
They're like big balls, but they have Dr. Octopus arms.
Yeah, it's like the weird. It's a wrecking ball with legs. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's
Yeah.
the weirdest thing.
But yeah.
And it ends on the world's greatest cliffhanger that has lasted us.
The Underminer.
And that's all we get. And
Basically the Mole Man from the Fantastic Four.
We're
Yeah.
not gonna talk about You're not gonna talk about like the scene with Jack.
Well, we are, but like this
Well,
is,
I mean,
that was
like
a plot
that
summary.
wasn't like, yeah, I wasn't gonna get too in deep with it because I just kind of want to
That's
breeze
fair.
through the plot summary, and then we can talk about the movies because we usually take like 15 minutes on plot summaries.
Mhm.
But so who wants? So do you want to go ahead and give your like just a view of kind of how things go?
I mean, like I can. I like
You
I
just
said, I
send it
haven't
out.
seen this movie like all the way through in a long time, but I've picked up bits and pieces. I always, whenever I see it on TV, I try to watch it, but then something happens, and I'm like, I really just want to watch The Incredibles, but then something happens, like we have to go somewhere or something, and I'm like, I just want to watch The Incredibles.
Mom, Incredibles are on.
My favorite characters are Dash and Frozone.
Same. I'm
Frozone.
glad you said that.
Samuel L. Jackson as Frozone. Whenever they're at the police station or no, they're at a jewelry store.
Yeah.
When
They're stopping robbers, and then the police come in and think that they're the robbers.
No, what happens is they're sitting out in the alley in the cars. They
Yeah.
tell their wives we're going bowling.
Yeah.
And they're sitting out listening to the police scanner, listening for like what crime there is for them to do. And then he's like, fire, we gotta fire. And then they go save the people. Yeah, they go save the people in the fire in the burning building, and they crash through the building, and right next to the building is the jewelry store.
yeah.
And they stand up and make the security alarms go off.
And then the cops come.
Yeah.
And then that's the scene where the cops are like, freeze, and he's like, I'm just getting a cup of water.
Thirsty.
And so he's drinking his water. They're like, now freeze, and he's like, I know.
Freeze.
And then he freezes them. I'm just like, it's so cool. Like I just always loved Frozone, and we don't even have to talk about the super suit scene. We don't even. Have
We already know what it is.
Everybody loves the super
Super
suit
suit.
scene. It is just so great. But one of my favorite scenes is where Mrs. Incredible, Helen, has to go to the principal's office because Dash is in trouble. And there's the teacher, and he's like, I got it all on camera. I got it on camera. And the principal's like, all right, let's see it. He's like, he put the thumbtack on my chair. He put it on my chair. He's like, watch. And he's like, you watch, and you barely see him move for just like a split second. He's like, there it is! There! He moved!
Right.
Right there!
Right. I'm sitting down.
There! And they're
Frame
just
by
like,
frame.
they're just like, I didn't see it. And he's like, what? he moved! Right as I said that! It's just
I think
so
when your son
great.
can go, Mrs. Bond. You letting him go again? This man is guilty! Guilty! I tell you, guilty!
And Helen's just like, Dash, what I tell you about using your powers.
I love
That's so great, oh my god.
I love that scene, but I also love the scene where learning like it's the big fight scene like towards the middle of the movie where like so they're all like in their powers and like
Oh, when they're
super-
all on the island?
Yeah, that's what I want. That's my favorite scene in the movie because it just like it's just cool seeing them all use their powers and then
I love the whole like what is it like 5 minutes of just Dashes running.
yeah.
Oh, that's such a good scene.
Yeah, he was my favorite character. Like Frozen for me is number 2, and then Dash is
Oh,
number
Frozen's
1.
number 1 for me. Oh,
Cause I don't know, Dash has like this this rebel appeal to him, and I like that kind. He's just like I do what I want, and just boom runs wherever he needs to go.
I used to have the Incredibles video game on the PS2.
Hey, I had it on GameCube.
I had it on PS2 also.
Yeah, it was a good game.
It was a good
It
game.
was hard.
It was very hard.
Oh my god.
The running scene with Dash was very
The Dash
Which one?
running scenes were
They were all hard.
yeah. I
The very
remember
first one was we got to like
the,
catch
you
up
have
to
to
school.
go to the school bus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
go
catch
catch
up
up
with
to
the
school.
bus.
Yeah. Oh my
But-
god.
But anyway, yeah. So I love The Incredible just because you know, it's that family superhero movie that, like, literally it is a family of superheroes, and it's really never been kind of done before just like that, in that kind of way. And so, what's up?
And then there's just Violet who's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. I love how
Mom said not to go.
I love how, like, all their personalities, like their powers fit their personalities. So you got, you know, Bob. He's like
he's the strong man,
right? And he's the father of the house. So he's got to keep them all together. Then you have
you got
Elastigirl.
You got Helen. She has to, like, round all the kids
Yeah,
up.
she has to keep the family together as well. Violet is kind of like, she's an introvert for sure, but
yeah, she's super shy, so she turns invisible.
And then
there's Dash.
he's a rebel.
Like,
he's a rebel. That's all
he
he
needs a
is.
car, man.
Yeah, exactly. He can run to Australia in like 5 seconds. So there you go.
She's so great.
My favorite Jack though is hilarious because he
with the baby.
he turns into like a demon at the end of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
that's the creepiest thing ever.
Because he has like more than one power. That's
Yeah, he has like
Yeah.
15 different powers, like
Yeah.
all in one. And the trailer actually showed, the new one shows like he has like laser vision and like all this
He
other
has
stuff.
electricity, but like in the end of the movie, we saw him turn into like a demon.
Yeah.
And he was fire.
Then he was like
We saw him turn completely metal.
Yeah.
And like weigh Syndrome down and all that.
Yeah,
And then
it's a unique
Syndrome
thing.
gets trapped up.
Yeah, like that's insane.
You know why? No
Like-
capes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
No
a
capes.
reason why
I-
superheroes wear no capes.
I know, but I'm just like, what? They put that in the movie.
Well,
Yeah.
He got cut up by a
Here's-
propeller.
like they didn't show, it, but you could tell it was
He didn't
definitely.
show
Well, you
it,
know what
no,
happened.
but
It was
like,
implied.
You know what happened? It's like
I mean, they
Indiana Jones. Like,
they
Raiders
brought
of
it
the
up in
Lost
the,
Ark.
like they brought it up before with like one of like the older videos of like one of the older superheroes that got also stuck in a propeller because he had the cape on. They did a callback with him like
They did.
there's a reason why superheroes should not wear capes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This movie, I think, it's very unique. I mean, like I said, for all these movies, they're very unique for their time. But Incredibles especially because, you know, it just had like from the very like the interviews you see with like the '70s footage to the current ones and like all
You
their.
think I'm just gonna sit back and let all the guys do the superheroing? No way.
Definitely. I think, although one of my favorite scenes also in this movie is the scene where Helen goes to Edna Mode to go see like what Bob's been up to, and she shows her like all the costumes. She's just like, darling, I have to show you what I've been working on.
Yeah, and
She's
shows
like-
the suit.
Dude, Edna Mode is like the female version of Tommy Wiseau.
Oh my god. Is everyone Tommy Wiseau now, Irvin?
No.
Does everything go back to Eric me?
But yeah, no. So that's one of my favorite, just because like she shows them all the different, like she's like, we have the power to burn to 1,000 degrees, and it's like fire everywhere, like showing her like suit and that, like.
Yeah, it
explode.
doesn't cover her face though.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Definitely, but it's I love this movie a lot too. It's all like all the movies like every movie that's on here, and the ones even that aren't on this list are like all of my top like just like favorite films just to watch whenever I can, because like I said, they're all unique. So definitely.
We gotta hear what Levi and Steven gotta say.
Well, yeah, I know.
Levi, what do you think of The Incredibles?
I mean, it's really, really good. It takes me back to my childhood because, like, at daycare, me and my friends at daycare, we would always play, like, The Incredibles and reenact The Incredibles. And, because everybody loved The Incredibles for some reason. Like, when we were
Yeah,
little,
it's a
like,
good
everybody
movie.
loved The Incredibles. It's a really good movie. It really shows, like, Pixar does a good job keeping it realistic with, like, as an actual family, but they're a family of superheroes. Like, has there ever been any other movie before The Incredibles where there was a family of superheroes?
Fantastic Four.
It's not a.
Well,
they're not a
Oh,
family.
that was after The Incredibles.
They're also
They're
not
not
a
a
family.
family.
So-
Yes, they are.
What, Susan and
Sue
Johnny's
and
son?
Johnny,
Yeah.
and then
That's it.
Sue and Reed get married.
Yeah,
The
but
They're
thing-
a
Oh,
family.
boy.
They are a
Okay.
family.
Boy, that's...
We're talking about like
Yeah.
parents and kids.
Yeah.
so
that's-
there's actually a movie I have.
That's not what you said. The Fantastic Four was the
God.
first official superhero family.
Oh, my
The Hulk,
So-
not the Hulk. The thing is, the thing's just there.
Yeah.
There's actually one movie. There's one movie I know that it's a live action movie. It was on Disney Channel. It's called Up and Away.
Oh yeah. I remember.
It's
that one.
about
It's Sky High.
That was after The Incredibles.
Was it?
It was. That was like 2006.
Up and Away wasn't.
Oh.
Up and Away was before The Incredibles. Long
Okay.
before The Incredibles.
I've never heard of Up and Away.
It was in the 90s, so yeah.
Oh.
That makes sense.
So it was before The Incredibles.
Yeah, it was before The Incredibles. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, what else do you guys have to say about The Incredibles?
It just does a really good job keeping it realistic. Because like you guys said, like Helen is the actual mom. She is. She acts like the mom. And then Bob acts like the actual dad. He works at a...
Alright, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, he working at his job. It's like, take a seat, Bob. Ask me why I'm not happy, Bob. Why? Why? Be specific, Bob. Why are you unhappy?
He's like, he got away.
got
He just
away.
grabs him by the throat and just throws him through like 15 walls.
But
He trips on a skateboard in his car. He bent
and
his
then
car.
and then at dinner he's like he's cutting his
He
son's
breaks
dinner.
the plate.
He's not listening. He breaks the plate. He's like, first now we got people at the table, then the car. The car. What happened to the car?
You told me to handle it. I'm handling it.
And then there's the kid who's on his like trike and he's
What
like,
do you
"Wait,
want?"
wait, what do you want? He's like, I don't know, something amazing, I guess.
Me too, kid. Me too.
But
It does a good job keeping it realistic with the kids and the family.
That kid,
and
that kid is the only one who knows their secret identities, basically.
yeah,
It's not a superhero.
yeah.
watch him be like the.
Well, I
next
mean, I
villain.
guess now Bob's boss knows that he's.
Or he just freakishly strong or something. You never know.
He got thrown through 15 walls.
He's a bodybuilder. He works. I don't know.
Well, you gotta remember whatever the guy's name is who talks to Bob after he throws him through the walls. Like he's the guy who helps them move around because he blows their cover again, where they gotta move and
He was like,
relocate
great.
and yeah.
You really want to like ruin your family? You want to relocate again?
Yeah, because they keep
It's like
having to
you've
move
relocated
because
like
of
4
him.
times.
Yeah. So, but them just trying to act like a normal family, and it's not working out because they're not a normal family. They're superheroes. So, and the message like Pixar gets across there, it's the basic one, like, you're not normal. Nobody's normal. You're unique. Families are unique. There is no, like, perfect family. There is
Like,
no, like, normal
if you're gonna
family.
be weird together.
You're unique. You're a unique family. So, that's the message, like, Pixar is trying to get across there.
I think it's also saying like.
Aside from it being like Fast and Furious, there's always room in the family.
It's always.
Like, I think
it's
also-
all about family.
in The Incredibles, it's also more like, because Bob goes on his own, it's always saying like stick together with your family, like, and even if you do
You're
mess up,
stronger together.
well, yeah, and also like, if you do mess up, your family will come to your rescue because they are your family after all. So definitely, I will also say, I mean, one other thing that I just love personally, because I love the score for this movie as well, the jazz, because
Because
like,
score is fantastic.
especially like being in jazz ensemble for so many years, and just jazz band in general, like I just listen to the score after all these years, I'm just like, this is awesome. Because there's actually a trumpet player, his name is Wayne Bergeron, he plays for a very famous jazz group, and he actually is like that high like trumpet you hear, that's him, like all the time. It's like, this is incredible. I know who this guy is now.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
That was incredible.
Wow.
You said it.
No, I didn't.
You said that. You said he was incredible.
Oh, well, you don't have to
You
emphasize
played
it.
yourself. But
But anything
Yeah.
else? Yeah. Well,
I was just gonna say, like, it keeps you entertained. Like, it is an entertaining superhero movie. It's not your typical, like, superhero movie like Superman, Batman, Iron Man, Captain America. It's not your typical one. It's family. And
it's a great comedy.
animated Pixar, so
It's the great Fantastic Four movie that we never got.
it's,
That's what everyone keeps saying.
It's not, I mean, I guess.
No, Fantastic Four is not, like, being... Because they are an actual, like, mom and dad and have kids and married and everything.
Oh my god, okay.
Or, I'm sorry, Fantastic Four, they're just brother and sister, and then they don't get married till, like, the second one. It's...
I'm talking about the comics, man.
They're still not an actual family.
Yeah.
So,
Three out of the 4 of them are like family.
Well, what about Hawkeye in Age of Ultron?
That has nothing to do with this.
so let's bring it back. Do we want to go into ratings now, or do you have anything else to
Did you
say?
get with Steven?
You guys already said what I wanted to say anyway. So it's
Are you
fine.
sure? I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
Oh no, it's cool.
You're
Okay.
going next. You're going next. That way you say everything. Yeah.
All right, I'll see if I remember.
All right.
Wally.
So,
You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's
Oh,
been
okay.
it's been a while since I've seen it though.
Ratings for
Right.
The Incredibles.
who wants, go ahead first, Brendan.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and go. This is gonna be low because I haven't seen it all the way through.
Yeah, all these gonna be kind of low for me as
So
well.
I'm probably gonna give it like a 7.7. I know that I like it more than that, but I have to rewatch it
Did
again.
you say that's low?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's lower than
That's
like what it
low.
probably would be.
That's not okay.
It's lower than what it would be.
Okay.
It's a superhero
Okay.
movie. I'm gonna
Yeah.
love it.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's one of the I will say it's one of the best superhero movies because
Yeah.
It really is. It is.
So that's kind of low for me, but it's just because I need to rewatch it. So
Yeah.
I'll give it a 7.7.
Okay. I'll give The Incredibles a solid 8.0.
Again?
Yeah. He gets a solid 8.
Yeah, I'll also give it a just solid 8 too.
I'll go back to 8.3 again.
Keeping it consistent.
I mean, I like all these films really are good. We just have to watch them again. That's our only thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So moving on to our next film, Wall-E, which was released in 2008. I knew you were gonna do that. Wall-E, of course, is a completely different tale. Of course, it just talks about how humans and how it's kind of like that. It reminds me of Passengers in many ways because of like the okay. How about this? Who wants to go to the? I'll explain later. But who wants to go to the summary first of Wall-E?
What are you gonna give?
Was you right,
Or
Steve?
I'll give some
Okay.
Wall-E. It's been a minute.
Lord
so I'll
knows you
try.
want to talk about it. You talk about it.
So Wall-E is
You
set.
haven't seen Up, right?
I haven't.
Okay, that's the other
Yeah,
reason.
I haven't seen
yeah.
Up and Coke in this movie I haven't seen
You
on
haven't
this list.
seen Up.
So yeah, so Wall-E is set in years in the future, and Wall-E is basically like the last. He's like the last thing on Earth. Earth is basically pretty much like destroyed and polluted like to the maximum. Like all the humans are on like a ship in outer space waiting for Earth to like get better, so they can come back and like not repopulate, but like
Yeah, repopulate.
repopulate and like take the planet back and whatnot. So Wall-E makes like this trash bot and it's his job to fix everything, to like clean up the planet, but he's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like he's just there. He's alone. He has like his friend who's a cockroach because
How?
it's the running how
How's it
because it's the running because like it's society's running joke that cockroaches can survive anything. Because Hal dies like so many. He gets crushed so many times. He just pops right back up. But yeah, like Wall-E's been there for like so many years. He's collected like so many like just small little items, and he's just basically just there cleaning up and like not getting anywhere at all. Mm-hmm. And then one day out of like nowhere, just like another like a spaceship pops down, and it's Eva, his love interest, who is there to see if there's any life on the planet. And she finds him. I mean, at first she thinks he's like some hostile thing and tries to kill him.
He falls in love with her.
And then realizes that he's no threat. But eventually, she sees that like one little sprout of a plant that's on Earth, and takes him back to the maximum or whatever it's called.
Axiom.
The Axiom.
Yeah.
The Axiom. And it's from that point on, it's just like their adventures with like when they meet all the other people, like all the other humans who were on the ship. It's just them basically trying to get back to Earth, with a few references to 2001: A Space Odyssey in there. And it's basically just like them getting back to Earth. I mean, like the moral is, I guess they have like more of like a moral of recycle. I don't know the moral of this movie.
My understanding of the movie was that they basically create all the Wall-E units to clean up Earth while the humans are just away on like a
They do
vacation,
nothing.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, while they just have fun or whatever. And so they have the Wall-E units that are supposed to clean up the Earth while all the trash and garbage, that kind of stuff. And then of course Wall-E's the only one left. And so my whole thing, I was just like, why did they leave them there? Like there was nothing really I guess Earth did have that
Earth was polluted.
Polluted,
The
yeah.
air wasn't safe.
right.
Because remember, at the very beginning of the movie, it zooms in on the Earth, and there's this whole orbit of dust and trash surrounding the Earth, coating the Earth. So that's pretty bad with the Earth being polluted.
It's really weird. It's like it pretty much predicted if we don't change up our act, that's how it's gonna end up.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it probably
I'm
won't be.
pretty sure that was that probably was one.
That
of
probably was the
points of it.
message.
Yeah.
And of course, but the main problem is that there won't be a large ship to carry all of us away. We have to. We're in
fix it
charge of our own
ourselves.
destiny. We have to make sure that we keep the planet safe. And Wally's like the odd guy. He's just like, yeah, because if you don't, I have to clean it up, and I can't do that all by myself. So
this is weird because I've seen like now I'm thinking about like movies that I've seen, like a few movies that I've seen before. I'm like there are a lot of them that I've like watched that involve like the plot of like, hey, pollution and like pollution is bad, taking care of the environment is what we need to do, because I watch so many like Studio Ghibli films, and they not all of them, but like some of their biggest ones have the topic of pollution is like pollution and harming the environment is always bad. Like, there's Nausicaa, Mononoke, and there's one specifically about Nausicaa's the one specifically about like pollution and whatnot. There's one more I can't remember that like also has it like the main subject. I'll think of it another time. But I guess back to WALL-E. WALL-E is very. I mean, all of these movies are very unique in their own sense. Like this one is like really futuristic, just saying they're like, hey, like they're like all like the humans in this take a back seat, like in like being like the main characters. It's just about just about like all these robots, like WALL-E, Eva, and then like the rest like the robots that they meet along the way. It's like you said, like you guys said, like it's pretty much about like, hey, we need like to fix up the Earth, or like it'll just get worse if we don't do anything about it. And it's done in a really good way. So like I really like WALL-E. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I can still remember like a lot of the details of it pretty clearly. So I like the movie a lot. So
Levi, I was gonna ask you because I know you really love this film a lot, and I love this film too. But I know like it was one of the films that you like really wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit what your.
Well, WALL-E's my favorite Pixar film.
Oh.
It is.
Oh
yes.
wow!
Yes.
That explains a lot.
WALL-E's my favorite Pixar film. The movie's just. See, I'm speak like it's so good. It's so.
It is very good. It is very good.
But no, you're about to bash out on it and everything.
I don't really have a lot to say.
Yeah,
But like, because it shows like even though he's the last one of his kind, he's all by himself, alone. Like he doesn't realize that it's just like he looks around. He doesn't like even bother and mind all the other like destroyed Wallies. That there's nobody else there, and it's just him and his little cockroach Hal. And he does his job every single day. Nobody else tells him differently. He doesn't break his habit. And we see him, how he takes care of himself, how he lives on his own, and like how he changes his traction, his little tracks. How he feeds Hal, gives him a little Twinkie. How he fixes his eye every time he busts his eye. How he turns on the lights in his home, his little shelter there. And he records his little song that he plays as his little tune to entertain himself to work and back every day. And he keeps his little cooler in the back where he collects things that he finds interesting. Like he doesn't want to throw them away. He's never seen this before, so it's interesting. Like he put car keys. He hears the car from a mile away. He doesn't know where it came from. A fire extinguisher that he thinks is fun to play with. A bra that he doesn't know what to do with but put over his eyes, like a lighter. He finds all these unique things where he's like, ooh, this is cool. He adds it to his collection. We see like he has like 15,000 lighters. He has so many light bulbs.
And you're going like the direction you're going with like this stuff is that like WALL-E, he's a soul. Like he doesn't know that he's like different, but yet like he does his own thing.
He does his own thing. Like he's capable of knowing like what is out there, like discovering stuff that's new and trying to like realize like what all this is. And then he has this little cassette that he plays all the time of the two. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it actually is a movie or if it was just like recorded.
I think it's an actual movie.
I was thinking that too.
Because it looks like it was made like in the 1960s or something.
But I don't know what movie it is.
You can probably look it up.
Yeah.
It's probably on their Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But he plays it all the time because he likes the dancing in it. And then we see like even though he is alone, he wants to find somebody. He wants there to be somebody else with him where he can share a connection with, because he watches that video where they hold hands and they sing, and we see that he's Like, he's lonely. Even though he has his buddy, his little cockroach Hal, like, he's lonely and he wants somebody there. And as the movie goes on and he meets Eve, like, you see, like, she is the first thing, like, other living being aside from Hal that is there with him. And he's not alone. And he just falls in love immediately with her and does everything he can for her to win her affection over. And of course, like, it's the cliche little thing where he's like a little goofball, he's trying too hard, and he gets into all these situations where it's like, oh, I just embarrassed myself, oh, I just embarrassed myself, oh, this didn't work, oh, this didn't work, she doesn't like me anymore. And he's just trying so hard to get her affection. And as the movie goes on, like, it shows, like, they develop these these robots, they develop these feelings towards each other, because she starts to like him when she, like, wanted to blast the crap out of him earlier, try to kill him. And I really, really enjoy that because it shows so much character development in the two of them. She wants to kill him because she doesn't know what he is, and he falls in love with her, and he tries to win her affection over, and they grow. Their feelings grow towards each other, of liking one another as the film goes on. And by the end of the movie, it's almost exact opposites of where they started off at the beginning, because he restarts his whole program because he gets crushed and destroyed. And she resets him, but he functions again like a regular Wally that is set. He doesn't function like the Wally we've seen throughout the movie, who has feelings and he knows what things are. He's not like programmed as a robot to like only do one job and one job only. And she actually, like, at the end is very upset, has feelings towards him, wants the old Wally back. She loves him, and they hold hands, and it brings him back to.
So what you mean? What you remember when you said all that is that, despite being, I think what you're trying to also say is, like, one thing that always amazed me was that, like, Wally, like, people always think that, like, robots have no emotions or feelings. Yeah. But that's wrong with Wally, because we see that, like you said from the beginning, he's lonely. He experiences loneliness. He experiences emptiness. Yeah. He experiences love and happiness when he's with Eve. So, it shows also that, like, robots and other machines aren't, we think to ourselves that they have no feelings, but we don't know that maybe they might, that kind of stuff. Now, that being said, I'm not going to say, like, oh, my MacBook Air is, like, crying or something, but, like, it's just saying that, like, if we don't judge so harshly, that kind of stuff, we can see that they're not no different than we are. Just like the Monsters, Inc. have that whole connection mixed through with it again. Like, they're not different than we are. So I think that's what you're kind of going for when you're trying. Yeah.
Also, the fact that, like, there's like very little dialogue between both of them.
Yes, it's all visual.
Yes, it's
beeps and squeaks.
Visual storytelling at its best is with Wally. Yeah, they only, like, just say their names and that's it.
They took, like, what is usually a Pixar short film and made it into a full feature-length film. Now, of course, like, in the middle of it, of course we have to have dialogue and whatnot with the humans. Otherwise, especially for it being a little kids movie, they're gonna get bored. Like, you need to entertain them somewhat. So, like, and you need to understand some of what's going on with the humans, like having the messages like, hey, this plant is here, you can go back. Because at first, like, when little kids watch the movie and they see that Eve picks up the plant, a life form, they don't know what's going on. Little kids don't know what's going on. Like, why did she pick up this life form, this plant? Why did she pick up this plant and now she's going into hibernation? Like, they don't understand. So that's why you gotta get that dialogue of the humans in there to realize, oh, there's life on Earth. We can go back. It's not as bad anymore.
But it still is.
It's still, yeah.
But they fixed it.
They did. They did. They're gonna grow pizza and whatnot.
What?
And the movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen it all the way through.
It's alright.
Did you wanna? So what you have seen?
No, I mean, like, I was young when I first tried to watch this movie. I haven't tried to watch it since. I wasn't entertained by it, but I have to go and watch it again. So.
Yeah. For me, this movie, I was kind of in the same boat you were, Brendan, but then I watched it again when I was a bit more, like, I was like 12 or 13 when I watched it again, and the things I didn't understand when I was younger, I understood when I was a bit more older, just because I saw what they were trying to do with the movie. That's why I didn't find it like, oh, this isn't, like, super funny and that kind of stuff. That's because they were trying to entertain you, but, like, in a smart way. They're trying to make, like, as you're having a fun time with Wally and as he, like, trying to get this relationship with Eve, it seemed like, hey, by the way, have you paid attention to what's he doing? Like, they're trying to get a plant back to a dying planet that needs life on it. And, like, while this is happening, like, that's the main form message. So that's very cool. It's very smart storytelling and very smart filmmaking because at the same time of like you said, Pixar does a great job of making sure you have comedy, sadness, like all these feelings, but saying there's a message with all of it. And this movie is always saying like, you know, basically take care of the planet. Like don't let it get polluted. Like take care of your only home that you have because, you know, like Wally takes care of his only home. He has that little bunker that he has, but he, you know, he does his job and it shows that like if one guy or one robot can do it that has like it's artificial intelligence or somewhat, then why don't we join him and why don't we do that together? And that's what I love about the last scene of the movie is one of my favorite scenes because they take the planet, they plant it back in, it's like starting from square one all over again.
Yeah.
The tree plant. So it's a very touching film, I would say. It's a very, very caring and touching film.
And I think that's why I like it. Like why it's my favorite Pixar film is because I like the feeling and like the emotional attachment and everything they develop towards each other. Wally and E. It kind of thinking about it kind of reminds me like they're Jack and Rose, like Wally's Jack. And
I knew you were gonna say
like they come from different opposite classes and they develop feel like it.
Yeah, but unlike Rose, she just doesn't let him go.
Okay, but still, you get my point. You get my point. They're opposites.
And, I agree with you. And I was gonna say, and the connection I was gonna make between Passengers and Wally.
Please explain.
So the humans, we have a large majority of them. Obviously, these humans are not gonna go repopulate different planets. They're gonna come back to Earth, but they're on a ship, the Axiom, and it's like, oh well, this is a place where nothing can go wrong. And sure enough, here comes Wally and Eve with this plant, and they realize they have to go back home, and so like all the machines and everything's starting to shut down and fail. And Wally and Eve are kind of like Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence on the ship. They're kind of like doing they only have each other, but they're trying to do the best they can to make sure everything runs smoothly again. In the process where well, I can't really talk about Passion because it only came out what?
It came out about a year. It came out in December.
Okay, so I can talk
December
spoilers.
26. Yeah, it's
All
been
right.
a year since
it's been almost.
All right, so and then basically it's not really that much of a spoiler, but he almost pretty much dies in the movie because he has to go replace the generator or the heck in the movie is. In this movie, Wally has the planet, but he gets crushed by the little door, and so it's about them like basically getting back with each other, and making sure that everything's okay again. So that's my little connection with Passenger because I saw a little similar between that and also like the ship is futuristic and all that crazy stuff. But definitely, it's one of those films. I agree with you. It's very. I know it's funny, all right. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah, it's all right.
But no, I agree with you. It is very unique for a Pixar. It's not like it doesn't just make you laugh. It doesn't make you just cry. It makes you think, which is in Pixar. It's a very rare kind of thing to make you just think about stuff. And Wally does a great job of combining all the elements to making you laugh, but also think about.
It takes its time too. Like even though the movie's only an hour and 35 minutes, like it takes its time.
Mm-hmm. It has kind of a slow pace to it.
But it does a good job. It does a really good job.
It does.
It's taking its time like that, rather than just breezing through and rushing it.
That's right. So is there anything else to say about Wally before we move into ratings?
No.
All right. Who would like to? How about you, Levi? You really love this film. You go first.
I give Wally an 8.4.
I'll give Wally an 8.2.
I'm not giving it a rating.
I too will give Wally an 8.2.
Alright.
Alrighty. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We've talked quite a bit here. We're gonna take a little break here, and we'll come back to Up and Coco. So our first half concluded with Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, and now Wally. Second half again will be with Up, and then our marquee of the night, Coco. So really looking forward to hearing about that movie. Other than that, you are listening to your station, your voice, the Galaxy Radio, the CineManiacs. We'll be back in just a moment. 1 second, let me turn off the live stream.